7/21, February 9th, for the Bucyrus City Council special meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
McKeever.
Here.
Myers.
Here.
Wireball.
Here.
Potter.
Here.
Sherrick.
Here.
Spiegel.
Here.
Young.
Here.
All right, granting permission for visitors to speak? Seeing none, we are here to discuss the Safety Forces Income Tax Levy. And I believe, Mr. Myers, you had something you wanted to say.
Yeah, if I may, Madam President, thank you. I had kind of requested this and asked that we have representatives from the police and fire department as well as their respective unions here so that we have everybody gathered in the room at the same time to start this discussion. The election coming up on May the 2nd, time's going to go by fast. We need to get all of our ducks in a row, all be on the same page and figure out what is our plan going forward. We're going to have to create a campaign. We're going to have to raise a little bit of money to purchase some yard signs, to purchase some mailers, to billboards, radio ads, whatever formats we look at. Put walking lists together to get people to go knocking on doors, handing stuff out. There's a lot of moving pieces and parts that we need to do, and I feel that this is the best way to do it. Is for the suggestion was made that we create an ad hoc committee of all of us because it does affect all of us, and so. This is where we're at, and I don't know what the right path forward is, but I think this is where it needs to start with all of us here together to figure out what our game plan is.
Well, obviously you guys know, but if you're going to do any fundraising, you first have to appoint a treasurer.
Correct. That's part of what I wanted to discuss in this.
That would probably be your first step, to appoint a treasurer so that you can fundraise.
I have a question, Mr. Garner.
Anyways,
When I was commissioner, when we had levies coming before the county, we as the commissioners could not be involved. It had to be a third party administering any kind of fundraising, campaigning.
yeah, so your treasurer probably, yes, couldn't be.
I will say that when we had the last street levy campaign, I don't remember if Miss Love was still in your seat or if she was already gone, but she ran that campaign. But yeah, I think that for transparency, probably having somebody outside of this group probably is a benefit.
Yeah, there was a treasurer for the Children's Services levy because they didn't want somebody in-house to do it.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Don't everybody raise their hand at once.
Ray's here.
He's on the Pines Reservoir Committee. Leave him alone.
Sure, go ahead.
Since you guys are kind of here because of me opening my mouth the other night. You need to do the review on it, and I think Brian knows what I'm saying, just to make you do everything properly. But in response to Madam President's comment, this is one of the comments I made the other night, when they did the jail and went out and seen the people, now a lot bigger area, 400 square miles, a lot of townships and villages, but when the sheriff participated in that and the commissioners, they couldn't be there now. You would have to check with.
It wasn't that we couldn't be there, we couldn't run the campaign.
Yeah, you need to check and see where the wording is, I think, Brian, because I never actually heard of anybody being put, quote, in charge of the campaign, but there may have been. The main thing they went after was to make themselves available, the sheriff, the commissioner, and so on, to those public meetings that were out there. And as I mentioned the other night, your groups, your Kiwanis, and so on like that, where you have the groups of people, see if they will invite you in. The radio stations. Get them to do a talk thing, maybe with a couple of the council members, along with the chiefs, something like that. Explain to the people where the finances are for the city. Explain to the people why you need the money and where the shortages are, chiefs, your manpower, your overtime. But if there is gonna be campaign funds and so on, I'll tell you what, I'll be the first day right now. You tell me where to deliver it, and I'll deliver $50 tomorrow to start it off for you. But you guys may need some signs, but you know, in campaigning, and you guys are the elected officials. I don't think I've ever run for an office that I can remember. May have been hijacked into a couple, but I think you'll find our community a lot more receptive face-to-face, door-to-door. I know that's how Sheriff Schauber won his elections in this community many years over. It wasn't by sitting back, making phone calls, or he had friends that went door-to-door too. Mark, you and I have talked about campaigns. The people want to talk to you, the people that are involved in it. They can see in your eyes and they can see on your face, and the general public will be able to tell looking at you if you're being square with them. They're not reading it on a billboard uptown on North Sandusky by the railroad tracks or something like that. But the reason I kind of intervened, because people listening to this and so on, the general public doesn't get involved in a lot of this stuff. So I don't want them getting confused. Okay, well, we got to have a treasurer and we got to have a campaign and all this. The people need to understand the goal is to get the community educated as to what's going on. And we have the levy that we're trying to sell. The city needs that levy. And we've talked about that at different times. So don't make it too confusing for the general public that's going to listen to it on YouTube or whatever this is played on. But yeah, get it set however you have to. But when I brought it up the other night, it was the campaign itself of what you're going to do. As one person put it to me, what's the game plan? And the person was told, what game plan? There is no game plan. Well, how are you going to get the people educated on this? That's why I showed up the other night and made the comment I did. Because you had roughly 10 weeks left that you have to get all these people contacted. So I'll leave it to that.
No, and you're absolutely correct. The only caveat is we can't discuss anything outside of this body. So we can't, I can't call Kevin and say, hey, we need to do this, and I can't call Aaron and say, hey, we need to do this.
It has to be discussed here.
So,
It has to be done here, so I understand that the
But once
minutia,
you-
the little things are gonna be
but once
confusing.
you adjust or set up a committee, the committee can meet.
It still has to be.
Public.
Has to be
It
public.
still has to be.
Well, no, that's not true. If we set a committee, that doesn't include us.
You could make
Yeah.
a committee with some council members, some firefighters, some police officers, some other people.
I think it would have to be two of us, no more than two of us. Or it could be three of us, as long as the three of us aren't on the same committee. We could do it that way. It would be the least number of us to make it not be a public meeting.
Right.
But back to my question the other night, that's one of my first questions, if you remember. Was everybody on board when this levy was passed? The answer was yes. As long as you're working as a team, that's what the people are going to want to see. In other words, we don't have 4 over here, 2 over here, these 2, no, we're not in favor of it, 4 over here. This is not a majority, this is unanimous. The people need to understand that. So whatever the proper way for the council to set it up, but I'm sure there's a way to get this out to the people.
Go ahead, Aaron.
The sign issue, wasn't there just something about other people could buy signs?
You have to put that in your campaign as a donation.
Well, no. There was a whole thing where they just did signs
If it's you.
that weren't a part of the campaign funds because it was done from the outside.
There'd have to be a pack then. You'd still have to have a pack.
I wasn't sure what that was. We had that whole group of people having signs out that, like, I could put up a sign for you in my yard as long as it was from me and by me and I did it myself and it had nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
and it didn't affect you. That's what I'm wondering. I mean, would people be able to make their own signs or, you know,
You want a
to
uniform
help out?
message, you want them all to look the same, we need to do it this way, but my question is, do we as a group want to continue to do this way, or do we want to take a smaller percentage of us and do it where it doesn't need done in a meeting? The reason I ask that is if we want to continue to do it with all of us, I'm going to request that we make this a bi-weekly thing at the end of every committee meeting between now and the election, so that we're meeting every 2 weeks. So we've got representation from the departments, and we're here, and we know that we're having a set meeting. We can talk about progress. We can have a list of things that need to be done, action items, and make sure we're staying on task. If we're going to go the other route and just have 2 or 3 of us do it, then that's something where we can just meet and then report back. I don't care either way. I just want to see that it gets addressed and taken care of.
John, let me ask a quick question. Now, this is for the chiefs. I can't speak for you, Rick. My days have passed on this and so on. Will your guys get on board, and will you as chiefs get on board with the council members to get this out? You are the reason for this, and you guys are gonna have to really sell this. You're gonna have to explain to the people why we need it. But will your guys be willing to help? This is gonna take some time. This is not gonna be 30 minutes next Tuesday, and that's all you gotta do. In the next 10 weeks, you're gonna need some guys on board to get this out there.
I'll do the best I can. Of course, I'll help, and I'll do the best I can to get my guys. Like I said, they're up here tonight, so come to the meeting.
So there's the main core of your work.
Yeah, and we knew that. We've already talked. That's why we wanted them here. But as far as the committee, we need to figure out what route we're going to go.
I think we just need a smaller committee. I think you can get more done.
Outside of this?
Yes, outside
open
this
meeting
group.
by-
I
I'll
think
volunteer to be
you'll
the
get
first
more
one.
done.
If somebody wants to volunteer to be the second one.
I'll volunteer.
Is there a third person that's not on a committee with you and I that could join us? If we need a third person, I'm saying.
We're all on.
I think we're all pretty darn evenly actually separated this time.
I mean, I can do it. I'm not on a committee
Okay.
with you guys, so
Perfect.
we'll hang out.
All right.
There's your legal protection.
Yeah, so representatives from each of the 2 unions, do you guys think it would behoove us to have the union involvement, or do you think it would be better to go the route of having the administration of each department involved as we're sitting down and talking about strategy and things like that?
Or one of each.
Or both, yeah. I mean, what do you guys think is the right measure?
I agree with both, yeah. Both? I think
Okay.
everybody needs to be involved with this.
Union and
So I don't-
administrative.
I mean, but you guys could speak amongst yourselves and get a couple people
I say
together.
get the names to us later.
And get back to us, and we'll
Yeah.
schedule a meeting.
So I think for the time being, a weekly meeting seems appropriate. How do we figure out when's the best time to get everybody available to get together? And I know it's going to stink to do that, and maybe not everybody can make it all the time, but I think we need to really, I think if we just say we're going to talk about it later, then later passes us by. I want to
Very
set forth
quickly.
a plan so that we know when's the next time we're all going to sit down, Brian and Aaron and I and whoever of you guys comes. Let's figure out a time when we can sit down and talk soon. Like tomorrow morning or next week in the morning one day, or early afternoon or late afternoon or evening, I don't care, but let's.
I was gonna say, just set it and then we'll figure it out between our parties.
Let's say Monday. Let's do something Monday.
What time are you 2 available on Monday? And it doesn't have to be a public
I didn't
meeting,
know.
so we can meet,
Anytime.
I got quarter till 5 better, 4:30.
all day you do.
Pre-trials all day Monday. Or noon. I mean, we can do noon to 1, or noon to 2, I mean.
Noon?
Noon on Monday? If each of you guys can try to have somebody available,
Where are you gonna meet?
right here at this table.
Noon Monday.
And are you bringing the pizza?
Mr. Potter said he was taking care of pizza.
He's not even here.
Don't hold your breath.
All right, noon Monday.
Think good? Yeah. Jenny, is it all right that we let somebody else speak?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Go ahead.
Tom Walker, past president, the local FOP, captain of the police department. Briefly, I just want to say from the last levy, I think all of you know, most of you were here and around at that time. Last levy, the police department and fire department worked hand in hand. There were times that we met at the fire department. So, we all, you always have that police fire little rivalry thing going on, but I think when it comes down to this, when the chips are down, we've always come together for the city. So I don't think you're going to have an issue with the two departments working together well. The other thing that I would point out, and I guess I would have to ask you if memory serves me correctly, this is going to be a safety forces levy, and it is only going to be used for safety forces. Am I correct? Okay, and I have to tell you, just today, two calls that I went on said, I would support you, but I'm not going to give them money to just throw away. And I tried to, and again, I said, I will look into this, but I wanted to double check to make sure this is strictly for safety forces. This is not for,
5-year renewable, so we have to earn it.
okay.
We have to earn its renewal.
And the last thing that I would suggest to whatever committee that we do, that it boils down to three very simple things. It boils down to recruitment, retention, and then also we have to worry about succession. Those of us that have been around the sun a few times, that have getting close to the end of our careers, we're concerned, especially with the fact and I'm going to point out from the law enforcement, police department perspective, we've lost an entire decade. Regardless of what issue it was, whether they were unhappy with us as management or whether they wanted to get more money, it doesn't matter. We're in this position now. That's why the chief made it perfectly clear that this needed to happen. So I appreciate the fact that you all are on board and are helping us find a way to get through this. But as an administrator for the police department, when you're looking at who's coming up, which we have some quality people, but these folks in a matter of, well, I point out Officer Wireman, 2 years into his career, he's number 4. It took me almost 18 years to get to number 5. Okay, so we have a lot of younger officers that we have to groom, prepare, get ready for succession. I have 4 years. There's probably, 5 of us down there right now they're right at the tail end. So we've got to get these guys trained, and we have to keep these people. We ask why we have to do these kind of things now, because if we continue losing these young people, who I know it's not even that they're out looking, they're being courted by other departments. They're literally coming to our people and saying, we will pay this off for you. We will pay the academy fee off for you. We will get you. You just come to work for us.
And that's hard to say no to.
It is very much so, especially if they're going to pay you $10 more an hour. So from a succession standpoint, again, I think that we have to get these young people trained and we have to retain them, or otherwise what's going to happen is when Chief Ossenheimer retires, you might have somebody with maybe 5 years as your chief. And no offense to younger guys who are fantastic, I believe wholeheartedly after being here 26 years now, that you can't have a guy, yeah, I know I'm old, Kevin. You can't have somebody that's got 5 years on in a position like chiefs. You definitely need experience. So again, I just propose that we look at this from the standpoint of it's about recruitment, retention, and succession. It's all about the betterment of this community. So thanks, appreciate your time.
Thank you, Tom.
See you Monday at noon.
Well, I'm off on Monday, so that's great.
Yep.
I won't be interrupted.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll yield the floor back to you.
All right. Do we have any public participation?
The only thing I'd like to
Yes.
say
Yeah.
is I think we as council have not so much the levy, because you got the committee going. We have to find out what we're going to do if it doesn't pass. That's our goal next. We just can't leave that out there if it doesn't pass.
Right.
We got to have as council a game plan as to what's going to happen if it does not.
Yeah, well,
Where to go from.
We did discuss a portion of that would be the out of town credit
Yes.
would be.
So we got to look at something like that if it does, and be ready if it doesn't, because it's going to be tough if it doesn't. There's no doubt. So that's
Thank
all I
you.
got to say. Yeah.
All right. Anybody else?
I just wanted to say, just impressive on everyone, how important it is that we pass this levy and everyone work together to do it, because the physical amount of money we have at the bank, this month we've had a payroll, a large buyout with retention bonuses, which is totally fine, understandable, and another payroll is coming up this week, and with the possibility of a raise retroactive to February 1st on top of it. Our budget and things we can reimburse from that is based on projections. And though we can do it, it's just very important that we do everything we can to get this levy passed, so, or have a good backup plan. So, that's it. Thanks for listening.
Anybody else? All right. Seeing as no one was absent, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion by Ms. Sherrick, a second by Mr. Myers. All those in favor? I'm sorry, McKeever, you two sound alike. It's my ears, sorry. All those in favor? Any opposed? We're adjourned at 7:40.